Yeah.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. So we're just going to wait a minute for people to join us. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Going to wait a minute and then start. Okay. Okay. Just making sure everyone can see my screen. Yeah. Okay. Should we get started? Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first event for the GCC Silicon Valley Founder Institute semester. We're so excited to be kicking off this semester with you all. And of course, one of the most exciting events that we always have a lineup is the pitch event. So this event is called Pitch Your Startup Idea to GCC investors and experts. And we do have an interesting lineup for you. And I'm sure that you will get a lot of value, whether you are pitching tonight or you're just in attendance. Just to give you kind of a quick rundown of what you'll be in for today, I'm just going to do a very quick introduction about Founder Institute for those that are not familiar with it yet. And then we'll have our mentors introduce themselves. We'll give you some ideas and tips about the pitching best practices. And then we're going to go to the pitches. We are hoping to fit in at least 5 or 6 pitches today over approximately 45 minutes. And then we can still have about 10 to 15 minutes of questions and answers, so you can get the best value out of it. And of course, we invite you to stick around and join us in the Air Meet, and that's our networking opportunity virtually. But this is going to be a link that my colleague Carmen will be posting in the messages. So just to give you to know who's here today from Founder Institute. Myself, I'm Dr. Hanan Albasheer. I'm the co-director of the semester, along with my colleagues, of course, Samir Sorter, who's the director of the GCC and UAE, and Carmen Matias, and she is also the co-director of the GCC chapter. For those who are not aware of Founder Institute has been founded in 2009 and is currently the world's largest pre-seed accelerator program coming out of Silicon Valley. It is a number one place in the world to turn your ideas into fundable startups and global businesses. Global startups is a concept, and global entrepreneurship are definitely concepts that are interwoven. And that is because at this point in time, there are over 5,300 graduates from, as in institutes and graduates out of Founder Institute program, with a total value of approximately $1.5 billion that have just been raised from the investors. The total value, of the portfolio is exceeding now $25 billion. You would have heard of some of the very interesting names such as Udemy and others from this portfolio. We are present in over 90 countries and over 200 cities, 25,000 mentors and advisors and investors are included, including the 22,500 investors. Today, you're meeting at least 3, 4, 5 of the partners, and some of them are investors from just the program of Founder Institute. So it is an expansive network. It is an opportunity for you to get immersed in a network that just gives you global access at your fingertips. But of course, what does Founder Institute stand for? We believe that there are great entrepreneurs everywhere, and it's just a matter that they need to be equipped and empowered with the knowledge and with the networks to be able to impact the world. The Founder Institute is very concerned that the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN, need to be upheld, and that every one of us could make an impact, a positive impact in your own community and in the world at large. The accelerators are now helping the entrepreneurs in the pre-seed, but also once you do get that label, that very proud label of graduates from the Founder Institute, to also have access to VC Lab and to other networks and other programs that are there for life. So this is something to aspire for. I'd like to just take a minute here to ask Samir to kind of share with us a few of the success stories within the GCC area of Founder Institute graduates. Samir?
Sure. Thank you, Hanan, and welcome to all the investors on board here today. And we have some amazing content going forward. Just to kind of give you a heads up, Founder Institute, very proud that I was given the opportunity to launch Founder Institute in September 2020, where we started our first cohort in Dubai, consolidated our position strongly in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And then slowly we're expanding across the GCC region. We have run 5 cohorts so far, and those include 4 in the UAE. And when I mean the cohorts in the UAE, actually we have founders from over 17 countries applying, because it's a virtual accelerator program. And 1 program we've run in Saudi with some fantastic founders who've graduated. So total, we have about 22 graduate companies, as we say, graduates or graduate companies, who have, with all dedication and sincerity and honesty, followed the FI company development process and have really found traction. 5 of the companies have also raised investment with an average ticket size of $250,000. And I'm very proud to say that since Sunday and today, we have 2 companies out of the 22 graduates who have found their place in a top 2% of the 5,500 portfolio companies of FI, called FI Select Portfolio, and which is just amazing, shows the kind of founders from this region building global companies, right? So here we are, and we are here to kind of create that lifelong learning opportunity for you to become successful founders, having a very strong network in the UAE and the GCC region. Any questions or any comments, feel free to follow us on social. Me, Hanan, Carmen, and all of the team are available for any responses or answers, as we will see you in the AirMeet networking room post the session. Handing it over back to you, Carmen.
Thank you, Samir. So we'll just resume our presentation really quickly, guys. I would just like to note, as Carmen is preparing you for the pitching opportunities, we know that a good number of you have submitted requests to pitch. Make sure, please, that you change your name, the display name that you have now as an attendee, to the same name that you requested to pitch with, so we can recognize you and bring you up from the crowd. Okay, so just to quickly resume our presentation here, let me share my screen again. Okay, so now we know what the belief system of Founder Institute and what we're trying to do. Just to give you a heads up, this is, as I said, this is the first event for our semester and our upcoming events. And please do follow us so you know the upcoming events. We have the Women Founder Roundtable coming up on April 19th. Meet the GCC and Silicon Valley Startup Ecosystem Accelerators and Investors coming up on the 10th of May. And Cracking the Code, a very special session with Nader Sabri, who's a NASA certified growth hacker. That's coming up on the 24th of May. The semester itself is going to be running from June 14th until September 20th. That is 14 weeks, and that is the core accelerator program, always runs for 14 weeks for Founder Institute. This is the link, fi.co/apply/GCC. This is where you'll find further information and where you can submit your applications. Now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome our 3 speakers. We are waiting on Walied to join us, but for now, Wesley is the co-founder and CEO of Tahseen Consulting. Yaschin Mohabir, he's the Chief of Staff and Head of the Special Projects with Qatar Free Zone Authority, and Walied Albasheer is the CEO and founder of Intuitio Ventures. So Wes, I'd like to ask you please to introduce yourself and just give people kind of a background of who you are and what you do.
Hello, everybody. My name is Schwalje. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. I am the co-founder of a company called Tahseen Consulting. We've been in business since 2012. We do a lot of things, but of pertinence to this conversation is we are specialists in technology policy. We help some of the most valuable technology companies in the world navigate the region, influence policies, and change policies across their region. We focus on a very broad swath of countries from Mauritania through to Pakistan and also Southeast Asia and India. My area of specialty is supporting startups in unregulated spaces, highly regulated spaces, and spaces where there's absolutely no regulatory precedent. I am also a very active angel investor, and I typically invest normally in 1 to 2 deals per month. My focus tends to be emerging and frontier markets, and particularly opportunities where there's a ecosystem convergence play with the MENA. So I like to look at India, Southeast Asia, Africa, LATAM, and many places in between. And that's it. Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much, Wes. And as I'd like to say, as aspiring founders or aspiring entrepreneurs, what you want to do is always keep the ear out and the connections to be able to realize who can be part of your support system. As Wes said, his interests are varied, and that this is the kind of thing that this is the kind of environment, as we said, within Founder Institute that you want to be embedded in. Yaschin, could you introduce yourself, please, for us today?
Hi, everyone. You can just call me Yash. It's easier. I'm a former investment banker, moved to strategy consultant for McKinsey, where I specialized in helping set up kind of ecosystems around entrepreneurship and building companies for like how countries think about it. Following that, I moved to Qatar, where I was I helped companies set up their large, small, everything. But largely I'm a founder at heart. I've done startups since I was I think 21. I've had 5 failures and 3 muddle along the way, and 2 that I've exited quite successfully. I do a lot of my stuff in Africa, so where it's most hard, marketplaces, delivery apps, all of these type of things are kind of set up from the ground up. So I've been through the journey that most of you guys will go through, and I'd love to give you insights from there. Lastly, as well, since I've been lucky enough to kind of generate a tiny bit of capital, I don't invest as frequently as Wes does, but 1 or 2 opportunities a year I like to throw my hand in, especially if I can get involved and help scale the company. Yeah, that's me.
Great. Thank you, Ash. Another potential investor on board right now. Walied, you joined us in perfect timing. Thank you so much for being with us, and would love for you to introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, thanks Hanan, and thanks everybody, Wes, Samir, Yasin, and Carmen. My name is Walied Albasheer. I'm a tech entrepreneur, 26 years in industry. I work on earlier days in e-government in UAE, 1999, and then from 2004 I start venturing part-time. And then by 2007, I start creating a couple of companies, almost about 6 companies. We managed to create the first hosting company back in 2004, and first fintech in 2006, sport tech in 2007, and school and office supply in 2013. So since 2011, I also started a mobility technology venture in Dubai, which is running till today. And we're serving or we're helping clients, with moving boxes and moving people. Out of that, in 2018, I created a venture studio in Estonia, targeting, logistic and mobility industry, and supporting, clients and founders bringing venture into these industries. And in 2021, I was glad to join the VC Lab cohort 4 and launch my venture fund out of there. So we are a $5 million portfolio targeting to support mobility and logistic ventures, and looking forward to support around 30 ventures in the next 4 years.
Thank you so much, Walied. That's very impressive. And that is another thing of the verticals that we keep talking about, the specialized funds coming up to support a vertical in terms of the industry. Thank you, Walied. So you're going to get a very exciting array of feedback today. So just so you know, when you do get the chance today to pitch, these are some guidelines of what you should be pitching, so you get the best feedback possible or the most valuable feedback possible from our mentors over here. Your company, my company is developing what is your defined offering to help. Who is your defined audience? What kind of problem are you solving? And what's your secret sauce? What's making you unique? What's your unique value proposition or unique selling proposition? From that perspective, be as clear as you can so you can get the best value possible. What are our pitch or mentors looking for? They will be coming back to you. You have 3 minutes to pitch, and they will come back to you maximum within a minute each to tell you whether they're assessing you or they're giving you feedback on the pitch itself in terms of its clarity, presentation, and content, and in terms of the idea as well, the business idea, validity, the potential, and the risks. So please use this opportunity and utilize write down everything you're going to get, because this is very important and we know how it is just to be able to move forward with it. Last reminder, please, that we do have an after event networking on AirMeet, and you will find the link to that spot or that virtual space for us in the chat. Carmen will be posting all the links for you. So without further ado, we can start with our first pitch, and that is Faisal. Faisal, are you with us here today? Okay, did we get Faisal on the stage? Let's get Faisal on the stage. There we go. Faisal. So we have Faisal, and just so you know, Abdurrahman Badir, please get ready. After Faisal, that will be your turn. Faisal, you have the option to be able to share your screen. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Faisal, are you ready? Faisal, you're on mute. Let's hear you. Can we hear you?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
You've got 3 minutes. Go ahead.
My name is Faisal Guraya. I am co-founder of Balkistan. Balkistan is a virtual sales force for small-scale manufacturers. Manufacturers contributing 25% in the exports of Pakistan, 78% in the industrial environment. Manufacturers making incredible products. These manufacturers were there when Game of Thrones were produced. Their products were used in that series as well. These manufacturers face immense problem in the existing B2B process, problems such as the price visibility, buyer's data, and payment. These manufacturers totally rely on wholesale, and interestingly, the buyer also rely on the wholesale. The market is too big. It's a $90 billion market. More than 6 lakh manufacturers are working in Pakistan, making export quality products. The China Economic Pakistan Corridor is also open, and the recent rising labor and production cost in our neighbor countries make a solid case for the 10x growth in the manufacturing and trading industry in Pakistan. Our launch point is the printing and packaging industry. It's a $6.5 billion industry with more than 50,000 manufacturers and 8 lakh buyers being present in Pakistan. Our revenue model is simple. We charge commission and subscription. We offer a wide range of variety and services to our sellers and buyers to increase their productivity and also their profitability. Great. Since our launch, we have raised $350,000 on safe notes from friends and families, and so far we have generated 7 lakh worth of GMV and 2,500 orders. Our month-on-month GMV growth rate, is 28%, with the drop size or bucket size growing at the rate of 75%. It's a B2B market, so their drop size will keep increasing. So far, we have raised $50,000, and we are raising $1 million more to scale our platform and onboard buyers and sellers to interact with each other. With the money, we can easily capture premium 5,000 buyers and 1,500 manufacturers. With these manufacturers, we can easily reach 10 millions of GMV in a month, because these are the manufacturers which are making best in quality products in Pakistan, and they are also exporting their products through intermediaries. Why we think we can do this? Because we are from the industry. We have worked with these traditional businesses in our corporate life, and we understand what they need and what they want. We are here to promote Pakistani manufacturers. We are their online sales channel partner. That's the concise version of Pakistan. I would love to hear from the industry expert about the business and the pitch. Yeah.
Thank you, Faisal. That was exactly 3 minutes. So thank you for that. Wes would like to go to you first. What's your feedback for Faisal, please?
I mean, I would have liked to have seen sort of like what the manufacturing base looks like in Pakistan, and particularly export-oriented manufacturers. I mean, I know Pakistan to be an exporter of agriculture, for example, but I don't know precisely, what role it plays in the paper and packaging sector.
Yeah.
I think also in relation to paper and packaging, and you mentioned China, there's a very big shortage of paper right now in the world that's sort of compounded with supply chain challenges, and a lot of industries are sort of struggling with input costs going up quite a bit. And I think probably you need to address that if that's sort of your part of your go-to-market strategy and acquiring initial businesses and manufacturers on that side. And I think possibly there's some opportunities there in that issue in particular, because I'm guessing that Pakistan sits more on the raw material side, and so thus it can sort of solve some of those paper shortages.
Yeah, in printing and packaging industry, it's not only about papers, it's also about plastic, but it's also on the verge of shortages as well. Why we launched printing and packaging industry? Because it's the most easiest industry to capture, and my career started from this industry in 2008. I was a salesman, and I started working as a restaurant order booker for a company.
I think definitely it would help to sort of clarify that.
To answer your question, Pakistan is being famous for surgical tools for export, textile, leather products, and there are a lot of raw material, agriculture based. But in finished goods, we are exporting leather products, surgical products. Our in price comparison, we are quite cheaper than China and India as well in surgical category.
Faisal, I'm going to cut you off there, please. You had the opportunity to pitch. Now you have to wait and listen to the feedback.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. Wes, do you have anything else to add for Faisal here? Wes, can you hear me? Okay. Wes, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. Okay. My earphones is conked out.
No problem. I was just asking, do you have anything further to add to Faisal here?
Faisal, I'd just say that if you change that, I think it would enhance the presentation, and then also, to include the major export markets.
Okay, thank you.
It was Yash.
Hey guys, Faisal, so let me split it out into kind of the presentation and then the idea, right? So I love this idea, by the way. From the presentation side, you told us too much, right? Like this is the presentation you have is a 10-minute to 15-minute discussion. You need a 3 to 4 pager, right? Focus on what your key message to come across and nail those key messages. Like you said a lot of good stuff, but it kind of got diluted along the way, right?
Okay.
Second thing, just to revalidate your numbers. You're saying things like, oh, we're going to get 10 to 50% commission, but then your GMV to revenue line item is 5%, right? So like intuitively investors pick up on these small things, and then it makes sense that, oh, when you guys were starting, you all didn't really get that, right? The third thing is you really need to crack a page on the model, right? The fundamental for your business case, and I need to see how you're going to get the two sides of the market, how you're going to get manufacturers and how you're going to get salespeople for them, right? And that's what didn't come across very clearly. You told the kind of story of if you had the salespeople and if you had the manufacturers, this is what would achieve, but not how you're going to get the salespeople and how you're going to get the manufacturers on, right?
Right.
On the idea itself, which I love, and you must remind me, I need to put you in touch with Hamza at Bazaar. He's an ex-colleague of mine, right? I think y'all can figure out some great thing to work together. I think you did it well by saying, look, you're going to focus on paper, right? But make it tangible. Say like it's a piece of paper or pens or stationery, and visualize it and say, this is the salespeople, that how it's going to work, who they're going to sell to. This is the thing that they're going to sell. This is how the manufacturer makes money versus he's differently. So break it down. The traditional model is manufacturer to wholesaler, wholesaler to end user, right? Now you go manufacturer, your platform to sales guy to end user. And you need to say what's the difference between them, right? Because from a manufacturer's point of view, a wholesaler is much easier to deal with. I have a contract with the guy, I deliver consistently. With sales guys, I can't predict volume. These guys are running around, how they incentivize, all of these things are questions that would pop up, right? And you just need to think about that type of thing. By the way, I'm super supportive of this idea. I love it, right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Second, one small thing to just add is the sales guys are your sales pitch, right? That's what you have. Your actual content, the sales guys. You need to say, what are you going to do with that, right? How do you educate them? How do you make them effective? What tools do you give them? What is the difference from me randomly hiring a real estate agent to do this because he sells houses, he can sell stationery, versus what you guys will be giving, right? They trust salespeople to communicate their product across effectively. How do you build that trust? Yeah, that's it from me. Otherwise, great job, Faisal.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Waleed, do you have any feedback for Faisal?
Idea is very valid. It really fits perfectly, in what's going on today within the supply chain industry. I do agree with Yaschin and Wesley on a couple of stuff. There's loads of information in the pitch, but I think you need to get some of the messages clear first, and then you can recap on whatever else. First, what is the problem you're trying to solve? The second, what is the solution like, and emphasize on the value proposition. Particularly, I'm in the industry. I did not get clearly the value proposition you try to offer to your customer. Then after that, number 3 is like why you, and comes here the competitive advantage and the market and your positioning and what you and your experience as founders and stuff, and then business model. So 4 things: problem, solution, why you, and business model. If you get this clear, then at least you could inject more information into that. My question would be, what is the exact value proposition that you're offering to your clients? Regarding the business model, is clear. You're doing subscription, you're doing bear whatever. Are you doing mid-mile? Are you doing last mile? Are you doing marketplace? What is the nature of your startup?
Okay, thank you.
Also, Faisal, show your face.
Yes, exactly. I was just about to say that last comment before Faisal, before thanking you. You're pitching, you need to make sure that you are pitch ready, and pitch ready means also that you're on camera and you're camera ready. Okay.
Yeah, I was.
Thank
you. My number came first, so I didn't know how to turn off the video because I had to complete the presentation in 3 minutes. That's why.
No problem. That's for everyone. Just a note for everyone: when you're pitching, make sure you're camera ready your lighting is right, your technology is all right. Thank you, Faisal, for being with us tonight. I'm gonna move
you
you
so much.
back to, thank you. Okay, so now Nihal is up. Hi, Nihal.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead,
All
you've
right,
got 3
let me
minutes.
share my screen. Okay, so hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Nihal. I am the founder and the CEO of ManaFlow. We are building a marketing automation tool for the Middle East. So we concentrate on the 1 million plus SMEs in the region. Why? Because first thing is a lot of because of COVID and the induction and the explosion that happened because of it, both the supply and the demand increased almost overnight for online requirement. So you might have seen that in fintech and creator economy, entrepreneurial economy, and things like that. What we've seen is in the last 1 year alone, we've been able to track 70,000 plus businesses who've come online from an offline environment or have created a website. So this is but just in the GCC region. And with that, a lot of platforms came into play, which help businesses create an e-commerce store, an online store, an online website. So what we are trying to do is, we're trying to address one particular pillar in the e-commerce stack, that's marketing, while others are focusing on logistics, fulfillment, storefront requirement, things like that. The problem that we're trying to solve is with respect to how people are, as an e-commerce business owner, you're spending a lot of money getting people to your website, but a lot of them are not going to buy from you. And our solution is to help you win back your customers, win back your visitors, right? So, so what we do is we track all the visitors that come to your website by their email, by their SMS, by the phone numbers and things like that, and then allow you to reach out to them using our pre-built templates so that you can get them back to your website and possibly complete that, make them complete the order, right? So yeah, so again, reiterating that we are the first and the only e-commerce focused automated marketing platform for in the region. We support Arabic. Our team is our primary focus is on Arab customers and in the Saudi initially. So what we are seeing is with the initial users, we are seeing an uplift of 133% in first-time purchases and a 23% cart recovery. So people who come, so this is going to impact your revenue. So you're going to get 20 to 30% more purchases happening. Globally, these are the biggest competitors. Klaviyo is one of the biggest competitors, or we are like them. They focus on e-commerce, but for Shopify users. So Shopify has a 5 million plus data place, and Klaviyo is 90% dependent on Shopify.
Nihal, your time is up.
Right. So just taking through the founders. So we've been working for the last 10 years in the ecosystem. And one of our advisors is Salih, who's from one of the ecosystem providers in the market.
Okay, thank
so
you,
thanks,
Nihal.
Anand. Yeah,
Thank
so.
you. Yash, let me start with you now, I mean, with feedback to Nihal.
Yeah, so clear presentation. Okay, let me do presentation idea, right? So clear presentation, I think you covered the main points. There was one slide, probably 2 slides missing. Okay, one you just showed. So, that I was going to ask about the pricing and how does it work. The second one is who your typical customer is. You kind of glossed over it a bit, but you really need to say, is it the kind of Shopify D2C kind of guys, which I think you're targeting? Or is it someone who's doing like a two-sided marketplace, that type of one, right? You need to be very clear on who your target customer is. On the business model itself, you're going into a super tough and competitive space, right? You're going into the space where people either can think they can do it themselves, or there's some model that's getting pushed on them directly, like Shopify saying, I'll assist you with improving your marketing, Google itself saying, I'll help you, Facebook itself saying, it'll help you. You need to come across, those are your typical main competitors in terms of converting them from whatever they're doing by themselves to how you can assist them better than they can, right? Because you're operating between the do-it-yourself and the kind of agency model, right? The last thing that wasn't too clear for me is, and you said it, but hey, you guys are Arabic, right? That was the only differentiator that I caught, and maybe I missed something along the way. Maybe that is something that can be overlapped very quickly. We need to think about
so
what.
let me just, I mean, I think both the questions can be answered with the target market itself. We don't, so in the region, it's not Shopify. The platforms are Salla and Makan and Zid and many other platforms. These support almost 70 to 80,000. They want to reach 500,000 businesses by 2025, right? So we focus on these platforms.
Platform in the region, right?
Yeah, so Shopify does not have much of a presence here at all. Yeah.
Okay, fine. But then you're supporting those like models, right?
Right.
That is probably isn't clear. Okay, that's it from me. Otherwise, good presentation.
Thank you, Yash. Thank you.
Thanks,
Walied?
Yash.
Well, I think if your main value proposition is like helping them with call for action, I don't know, you correct me if I'm wrong. Are you helping them with call for action, or what are you particularly helping those Salla and others with?
So we are getting, so Salla is one of our partners that we work with. They help businesses create a website. We help the same businesses get more orders, right? So Salla has its own app store, and we are one of the bigger, if you go to their marketing category, we are the only people who are providing a marketing product to them.
Okay,
right?
So what if I come to Yaschin, to Yash comments again? What if Salla and those others, they extended their offering to what you're offering? Then what would be your position at that time?
So Salla is trying to build a Shopify kind of an ecosystem. So we are not dependent on Salla for our marketing or support. We do our own marketing. We just are an app that exists inside that ecosystem. So it's an open API, right? So if they are going to stop support, then they have to stop support for everyone, right? So it's a platform that they're trying to build, like Google Play Store, or Google can come and say they'll build apps for every category, but it's definitely not advisable, right?
So have you validated this hypothesis? I mean, your features today, there are a couple of hypotheses. Have you validated those hypotheses in terms of barrier to entry, or in terms of your positioning in the market itself? Because again, relying on somebody who could do the service itself, or relying on their ecosystem, I think on the long run, this could be, you see most of the industries now, they are moving into each other. Kareem into getting into delivery, into vaccination, into home service, and other stuff. So it's very common for some of the ventures to extend their stuff. I think this is an area you need to look at. Do you know about Mobilizer in Saudi? There's a company called Mobilizer, which is trying to help those small vendors who does not have the capability to digitally transform. They're trying to help them reach out the market rather than just focusing on a specific segment. This is the area which I would comment, and I would advise you to seek more validation on this area.
Sure.
Thank you, Walied.
Thank you.
Wes, do you have feedback for Nihal?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great problem to be solving. Performance growth marketing, retargeting. If you look at any developing a frontier ecosystem, there are key sort of skill shortages. I would say there's one very big blind spot that you didn't mention, and you're sort of underestimating, which is competition from India, right? So there are two companies you didn't mention. One is Zeno, and the other is WebEngage. Both WebEngage does Arabic, by the way. And both are very well funded with, star cap tables. I think WebEngage has social capital on the cap table, in fact.
Yes,
I think effectively they're the same product, right? And you're telling me that differentiator is Arabic, which I buy. All of my business partners cry about the level of Arabic every single day, right? And so that's obviously a pain point, and to focus in particular on that, I think would really distinguish you from that Indian competition. The problem for an investor like me or somebody who would be looking more at the D2C lens is that the market size in India is far bigger than the entire MENA. So my preference would be to invest in the Indian variant of this rather than the MENA focused one, to be very honest with you.
Yeah, just to quickly point out that WebEngage is more of an enterprise focused product, and they are not built for SMEs. So we target the SME market, and particularly in the e-commerce section. So WebEngage, I've used WebEngage. I've used it for the last 5 years. I've worked in growth marketing forever. So CleverX, WebEngage, MoEngage, these are the biggest players in the mobile app marketing in section of marketing automation. So I understand where you're coming from. There are hundreds of tools out there in the global ecosystem. Anybody can get into the Middle East. We just want to be specialized with the channels that the Arab or the Middle Eastern market needs, and the languages support, and the technologies that they are using. So our integration.
That's fine.
Thank you.
This is a good premise, but the obviously the exit opportunity from that type of focus is limited then, right? From an investor perspective.
Right.
Thank you, Nihal. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good luck with your idea, and hopefully we will see you within the Founder Institute program to further solidify your offering. We have Joe DeRosa. Hi, Joe. Wait, hang on.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, great.
You ready?
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. You've got 3 minutes. You can go ahead now.
Okay. Hold on a second here. You guys see this?
Nope. See a black screen.
See if it pops up here. Nothing yet?
Nope.
What's going on here?
Try to stop sharing and share again.
Yeah, I guess. Hold on. Let me try to open it first. All right, and then let's go to Zoom and try share. How about now? Any good?
No. Would you like, so you don't lose the opportunity, would you still like to?
Yeah,
go
okay.
through your
Let me
idea
just
without
run
the
through it
screen?
real quick here.
Okay, then just stop the screen sharing and you've got 3 minutes.
Okay. All right. Essentially, my name is Joe DeRosa. I've been involved in a couple different startups. I ran and published the New York Artist Series for a number of years. I've had a real estate license for over 20 years, and I have a mortgage license as well. I am in Southern California. My company is called Seedlings. We are basically looking to help solve the co-living issue, or to help solve the housing issue through co-living, residential co-living in Southern California. We're taking a new approach. Essentially, commercial real estate is usually defined by revenue and valued in such a way where the single family home market is basically determined by a 1 to 2 person income and what can be afforded. We're looking to take advantage of the gaps in those properties and maximize revenue in those areas by co-living each room out. It's a professionally managed roommate situation. We're a different approach. We're taking an ownership approach where we're actually buying the properties. let's see here. It's a huge market. It's a $500 billion market, trillion dollar market. There's 19.2 million college students here in the United States alone each year. So it's a refreshing market. We think we can get the lifetime value of each customer up over $100,000 by providing real estate and mortgage services when they decide to stop co-living, and sort of hook the young adults and transition them into buying their first home. And that'll be one, and eventually into, rental properties, and helping them manage those. So, it could be a lifetime proposition for them. That's basically what I have for you, since it's only 3 minutes and I took up a couple minutes with the screen share.
It's okay. Thank you, Joe.
I'm
Waleed,
happy to
let's
answer
start
any
with you.
questions, and I have a data room set up. So I've been eyeballing about 7 houses here. It's a $2 million ask for a 10% post. I'm eyeballing a bunch of properties here where I think would be effective. So we're pretty much ready to go. I've been monitoring the real estate. I've been working on this for a year, getting the proper licensing in Southern California as a realtor and a mortgage loan officer since I just moved down here. And I have all that licensing. So we can operate as both of those without the company having the expense of running both a mortgage and a real estate company. So we can gain the financial benefits. That's how I position the startup.
Thank you, Joe. Waleed, do you have feedback for Joe?
Yeah, I think the problem we're trying to solve, it's a major problem, especially the post-pandemic,
Yeah.
And then helping those owners getting with their expenses and stuff like that. That's a very important part. The way to do it, maybe if we could see the presentation, we could have some more visual to understand. But again, related to Airbnb and others, how do you see yourself among these, and what sort of why now? If I ask you why now, how would you answer that?
I would answer two questions. I mean, look, you gave me 2 questions. How do I see myself versus Airbnb? I see Seedlings as the Airbnb version of the managed co-living, professionally managed co-living residential. So, if you have a college student and you're sending to one of the colleges, you can hop on here. You're going to see an apartment, do a virtual walkthrough. You're going to be able to sign a lease if you want to, with whether you've seen it or not, or we will have realtors in each state. So we'll be banging the law there. So we'll be able to offer real estate services as well to these people when they decide to leave our system, and then try and sell them on, real estate investment and, maximum buying investment properties through co-living, sort of like Airbnb does. They have a whole sort of investment team that helps their clients buy more properties and become more invested in their company.
So you're targeting manage living, So it's a little bit premium service than a sort of service that is done by by a husband and a wife, or by an owner of a property.
And we know the law, so they can't tell you can't have people in there after 9 o'clock. Kids don't want to have their landlords living on top of them. So to have a company they can call when they have a roommate situation is much better than, having your roommate there. If you guys want to have a couple beers on a Tuesday night and your landlord's looking at you funny. So they don't want to be in that kind of environment.
Clear enough, yeah.
They prefer the managed system.
Thank
Makes
you.
them feel more like
we are in Dubai. We are in Dubai, and now manage short rental, if you may call it, or even longer rental. It's a big trend right now. There's some recent regulation that's allowed this based on a specific structure. It was not allowed unless for high premium properties with specific license. So I think it's filling some big gap in the market.
Oh, globally, it's huge. There's tons of consolidation, tons of buyout. Common is one of the bigger ones in the United States. Bungalow, they are really fluttering though, and they don't really understand the market. Now, let me answer the second question you had is why now?
Joe, make it brief, please, because we still have Wes and Yash still to give you
Okay,
feedback.
just
So
real quick on the why now. As you saw with WeWork, there's a lot of investment money that likes to go into real estate because it's really safe. I noticed looking at Common and Bungalow that money hasn't been going into the residential market like it should. So there's about $1 trillion worth of private equity and investment money that could still come into this area. And they're not doing it because they don't know the law and they don't understand the real estate practice, and they're not focusing on the lifetime value of services that they could provide their customers. They're taking their 10% management fee from a whole bunch of people. They have no quality of service. They're providing no exit real estate service to their customers as they're leaving, and they're not taking advantage. You've maximized the rental income that you can bring in residential real estate, and they're not taking advantage of it. They're just selling it to other people.
Clear.
And private
Thank you,
equity
Joe.
companies, that's not somebody with any real estate experience would ever do. So there's a lot of money that could be put into this market.
okay, thank you, Waleed. Wes, do you have something to value you can add to Joe here, please?
Yeah, Joe, I've worked a lot on home sharing regulations and the sharing economy in general, and some of the companies that you actually mentioned. I would say that, you know, an asset-light approach to this business has typically been the way to go, and which is the Airbnb. I think with acquiring properties, you're talking more about the Sonder type model, which is more kind of, you know, managed and higher end and more of a premium product from my perspective. You know, we're based here in the Middle East, where cohabitation and and sharing houses and apartments was illegal, including till last year, even in Dubai. Wow. And you know, it was a personal status law, which I won't go into what those are, but it required a change to that, which is very, very politically sensitive and will never happen in most other Arab countries. But I would say from our lens, that something that might help you and be insightful to you is, like, there's a lot more of competition, I would say, from geographies like ours for digital nomads. And I think that's a phenomenal sort of sector to go after. You know, people who want to create this sort of lifestyle now where they're hopping around different countries, whether it's Dubai, whether it's Bangkok, it's Malaysia, Singapore, you know, Silicon Valley. Like, that's a super interesting.
You're talking about the subscription model.
Yeah,
the global subscription model. Yeah,
I think that's
a lot bigger investment and requires a lot more legal work going into it, because you're in so many different zones, you know what I mean, and marketing the same product, and everybody has different residential real estate laws. So you know, until you scale up on a revenue, just the legal side of it is just mind blowing. If you're dealing with, you know, even in the States, you have 50 different states with 50 different residential laws. There's no federal, you know, housing laws that govern real estate practices and property management. It's all done on a state level. So even here, we have to deal with 50 different governments.
Yeah, for sure. That's why you know, Airbnb has one of the best policy teams in the world, right? And they hire former politicians to run it, because
we're doing a little bit more longer term, though. You know, we're looking for more than 1-2 year lease, college students, young professionals. You know, where they could potentially switch within our ecosystem as sort of a subscription model. But, you know, it's not something, I don't know if I would advertise it as a rental subscription. I think that's not quite it. I think my idea is more to equitize their turn into housing owners by offering them incentives to continue using our real estate services when they go buy their first home and get their first mortgage. So maybe they get a $50 a month or $100 a month credit towards their down payment or closing costs when they go to buy a house when they leave Seedlings.
Joe, thank you. Thank you, Wes. Yash, do you have something quick to add to Joe, please, because we need to wrap up here.
I'll be super quick, right? Joe, love the enthusiasm. You're solving a too big problem. Pick your niche, focus on it. Greystar is a gigantic billion-dollar company doing exactly what you're doing. They closed down a division that was looking at this exact same sector. Understand what they did, understand where they failed, focus on figuring out how to change that. went down this whole escapade about co-living. They did it in San Fran, found real estate was too expensive, couldn't turn junk real estate into co-living spaces that was cool. Something happened. I don't know the detail. Figure out what that is, solve that problem, right? What you're trying to do now is there's a wrong real estate value chain. You try to create value at each point. The problem is you're just like a lean team, right? You need to pick one area which you can sell and push to focus on, and then you can go down each vertical as you go, right? So if you want to start on, like, say, you mentioned acquiring a property, which is one whole baby on itself, managing the property, which is not the whole baby, managing tenants, which is not the whole baby, right? Then you are like, okay, loan origination, not the whole thing, right? Pick one, focus there, find out what the problem points are, make that your initial sell story, and yes, you can expand up and down the value chain as where you see there's biggest gaps, right?
Good. If any of you guys need a
Thank you,
link,
Yash.
I'll put a link to the pitch deck in here so you can take a look at it.
Please do. Thank you, Joe. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
guys very
joining us
much.
today. Thank you. Okay, so we had hoped we had higher expectations of going through more of the pitches for the night, but I think just to respect everyone's time, I would like to ask our mentors and our panelists to give advice. What would you say in 1 to 2 minutes from what you've heard and from what you've been experiencing? Your experience expands just this session. So you've worked with founders before, people within the idea stage or even within the growth stage. 1 to 2 minutes of advice, general advice that you would give everyone working through their idea. Let's start with you, please.
I think, the piece of advice I would give is like, it's an iterative process. And so, accept our views as what they are, opinions, and we could be wrong. I mean, I started investing thinking VCs had some sort of special power of predicting the future, which is, absolutely 100% wrong. They don't know anything more than you would. In fact, probably, your business far better than they do. And so, I would just say to accommodate and sort of just iterate to your deck with the comments that you hear, and just keep on improving. I think one thing that struck me today is if you don't mention competition out there when you're talking to investors and they sort of know it, you kind of lose pretty much all credibility in terms of the pitch. And I think a lot of times those would end in investors not pulling the trigger on your business. So it's really important to do the homework on competition, competitors. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Wes. So the awareness of the market is very important as well. So they know as investors or as collaborators that you know what you're talking about, not only that you know your business idea, but you know also what's out there and how you're differentiating yourself. Yash, what would be your advice?
So I have two, right? So one is generally, look, you're in a very constrained system when you're a founder. You don't have money, you don't have people, you don't have time, you don't have pitch extent. Focus on one problem, which is your main sexiest problem that you want to sell, and focus on actually cracking that, right? If you're trying to solve the whole ecosystem, great, but do that when you're Airbnb and Facebook, right? But until then, solve one. Some of these niches are big enough to scale itself. Look at Grammarly, right? It was a Google plugin. Now it's $4 billion, right? Second thing is on your stories that you need to sell to everyone, right? Simply map out how it works, right? In the 3 pitches today, it didn't come across clearly how the parts fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, right? Just do that. It's 1 page, it's worth it. It helps bring everyone into an understanding and even answer some of the questions like, this is how I'm competing, who I'm competing with, all of that, because people have seen models and they know who to compare it against, right? Yeah, that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Ash. So again, it's about the clarity and it's about the vision, communicating the vision, but starting today, knowing where to start and now. Walied, what would be your advice?
One of the main advice is that founders should focus always on their niche and the challenges of the niche rather than focusing on the product, because the product could be here today, tomorrow is not there. Another thing I would ask them, most of the startups failed because of the founders, it's not because of the products. So the founder has to ask themselves several questions that, would I be excited enough to work on this for the next 6 years or 10 years, perhaps? Because again, you need, Steve Blank said, startup is an organization searching for a scalable and repeatable business model. In order to get to this point, you spend like 2 to 3 years sometime 1 to 2 years. And then when you find this scalable business model, then you start scaling. Then you need another couple of years, 2 or 3 years to scale. And then you look for exit. So the round time, it's about 8 years. You need to look at things that are future-proof. And again, I will emphasize on what Yas and Wes said about to avoid premature scaling. You know, focus on your own niche, focus on your own market, get it done properly. You know, have the cycle of acquisition, activation, retention, referral, revenue. Create this cycle many times. Then look for some other markets or other geographies or other niches. So you're doing really some good job instead of doing a mediocre job at a larger scale.
Thank you, Waleed. And that's very important as well, is knowing where to start, is focusing on what you need to do and making sure that you are as engaged in 10 years as you are today starting out. Thank you, dear panelists, Wes, Waleed, Yaschin, and of course, Carmen. Thank you so much for joining us, for all the value that you've added for the evening. Thank you, everyone who attended. Again, just reminding you, this is one opportunity. This is was one pitch opportunity that you had within Founder Institute. You actually have 14 weeks and 14 opportunities to pitch and perfect that pitch. More importantly, you get to interact with mentors such as the gentleman that we had here with today, who have the expertise, who have the experience, and who have the exposure to be able to support you in refining your business idea, whether you're on the launch or at the growth stage. So please do not hesitate to check out fi.co/apply/GCC. Check out the program. We're starting in June. And until then, we also have a lineup of other events. And we do have another pitching opportunity for those who have applied or enrolled within the program. And that's coming up early in June. Once again, thank you for joining us tonight or today, wherever you are in the world. We do have the Air Meet, a networking opportunity that we're going to be around for at least 15 minutes over there. So please do join us, and we can keep the conversation running. Thank you, gentlemen. Good evening to you all. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you, Hanan. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.